Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you an update on the short film. So Principal Photography on Love is Blind has just finished this last weekend. The 21st of April was our last day of shooting on the Saturday. The footage isn't actually on this camera. It's on the Blackmagic that we used courtesy of our cinematographer, Matt Thomas. Really good DP, really helped me get into the swing of filmmaking after such a long time away. But it was his camera we shot it on, which means I'm downloading the footage. There is a slight drawback to that, which you'll see just now. So as you can see, we've got all of our footage on here. I'm going to put that on the screen for you so you can actually get a good view of it. I'm making a little cameo as the mugger in the film. The protagonist's glasses get broken in a mugging, and someone has to help him home. The lovely Amanda Vokes playing that someone. Now the reason we shot 10-bit is to give us that extra colour information for the edit. Just to give us that little bit more room in grading, we shot it in a very flat log profile. And that's why we chose the Blackmagic. Not too big, not too bulky, because we did a lot of it handheld. But still giving you that image quality at 10-bit, 1080p. However, even at 1080p, there is a drawback. This file here, for example, it was a single take, and one take alone was 4.4 gigabytes. An absolutely huge file, just for one take. Across all 3 days, we're looking at around about 250 to 300 gigabytes of video data, plus around another 20 gigs or so of audio data with all the wild tracks and foley we did. This has really been a bit of a challenge on my internet. I'll show you an image here, for example. That's taking about 2.5 hours left to download because my internet speeds in this block of flats, I'm getting about 300 kilobytes a second, so I'm spreading it out over 3 files at the moment. The last 3 actually for the second day of shooting, and that's going to take 2.5 hours for one, 1.5 hours for another, and about 4.5 hours for the last one there. Not really a problem. It's worth it in the end for that image quality. I can basically go through and choose whatever sort of LUT I want, whatever sort of look I want, and it just gives me that extra detail when I need it in the color space. Beautiful camera overall. The only thing we had was some battery issues. It is very thirsty on battery, so we were using these big Sony MPF style ones. Did mean we had to cut one afternoon a little bit short because of it. We got the pickups the next day, so it wasn't an issue. The sad factor is I didn't have my lighting equipment with me because we were shooting outdoors for the majority of it. We only used those for the indoor scenes. Yet they took the same kind of batteries, so if we'd maybe had a bit more time beforehand, we could have packed a few of those in and made sure that we could have shot for longer. But we really had a great time shooting in Islington, as well as in Bank and here in Welling, where I live. It's been a really fun project, and I'll go into more detail about some of the pratfalls and some of the really good touches we managed to get. Some by luck, some by design. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through some of the shots we devised for the film, Matt and I, between us. The first angle is a side-on shot of the two of us, Robert Hackney playing the lead, and myself making a small cameo as the mugger. We chose this really tight compressed shot 50-50 where I was right in his face to really put you in the heat of the moment, and luckily in the location we used they had these fantastic barred windows. We decided to use those because they, if anything, look a little bit like a kind of a prison cell, and it gives you the feeling that he's trapped in here. This is a tight space, he can't get out, to make the mugging that little bit more visceral. The second visual metaphor we devised, location scouting, that we really wanted to use was this split in the wall between a kind of a rough beigey yellow brick and a pristine white stone. We had them stop either side of it during the shoot and deliver the lines because we wanted that real clear visual metaphor of the break between the two of them. They're going towards his place, so that white pristine wall kind of shows a different side of London to the kind of grittier stuff we'd seen before, and really puts you in mind that he is quite affluent, quite well off, and there's a divide between them. Now we wanted to use a dead-on profile shot of the two of them in this angle. But as you can see, there was a giant BMW in the way that made that a bit tricky to do. So we improvised and came up with this angle. Now, we're not going to use a lot of the wide shot because Amanda is still in focus in here and we wanted to keep her as hidden as possible. But we are going to use it for a kiss on the cheek, which you'll see cut in here. Just to really hammer home the metaphor that little bit more. Thirdly, we use quite a few rear-angled shots as a way to keep them in frame together, because again, we didn't want to show too much of her. We wanted to keep a little bit of suspense about her character in there as well. And secondly, it just makes it easier to match dialogue from other takes, gives you more freedom in the edit, and really kind of gives you a chance to make that red just pop. Colour choice is quite a big thing in the film as well, which I'll discuss in a second, but we use this rear angle quite a bit. The last narrative device we used with the camera to really get people involved in the story was focus. We used it for two main reasons. The first, to keep her hidden and out of focus while we focused on the protagonist. Just to make framing a bit easier, but also to really put you in his shoes. And lastly, for inserts, to show you just how disorienting it can be when you are that short-sighted and you don't have any contacts or glasses on, to really make you empathise with the character. Now, one of the reasons we shot it so flat and in 10-bit, ProRes 422, was so that we could really push the colours we wanted to. And the colour we really wanted to throw in there was a vibrant red. There are two main connotations with that colour. The first being passion or romance, and the second being violence. Now, both play a little bit of a theme in the story. So between the reds of his injuries and their clothing in both days of the story, really pushes the idea that it's a key motif in the film. Now I'm just going to throw Rec 709 over the log footage to really make the colours pop so you can get an idea of what it will look like. I'm going to be doing a lot more fine tweaking, but this is probably going to be close to the finished article. So here's a quick preview. Hope you enjoyed that little preview, and fingers crossed that's whet your appetite to see the finished product. I'm going to spend the next few weeks editing, and eventually it's going to go into festivals. Once it's done the round, it's going to hit YouTube sometime in the next few months, maybe the autumn time, depending on how it does in festivals. I want it to get as much exposure as possible. So please do share this around, get people excited. And next time I'll be discussing some of the mistakes we made and some of the things we really learnt from making this project. Look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye.